the elephant in the room we keep on teasing, the Patriots are at least, having, I don't know what we want to call it. There's smoke. Let's call it smoke. All right. There is some smoke. Jeff Howe, The Athletic, we all know Jeff. He published an article today saying, why not Deshaun Watson?
Well, for the Patriots? You want some more smoke? I'm seeing this from fans on Twitter. Maybe somebody can confirm it for us. Apparently Mike Lombardi also mentioned it on NFL Network.
Wow. So there's definitely...
I don't know if somebody can confirm that. If somebody was watching NFL Network, I'm just seeing some people talk about it, but just throwing that out there.
There's definitely some smoke here, and I'm not saying that there's anything close to being done, but the Patriots have been active in the quarterback market from the get-go since this all kind of started. And really right after, sort of the Super Bowl, I guess, that's kind of when the new legal tampering period is, right? Everybody's been talking for weeks, and the Patriots have been talking. They've called about Deshaun Watson. They called about Russell Wilson. They've called pretty much about every veteran quarterback that's potentially available. And the trade parameters that I have heard thrown out there, if you want to talk about Deshaun, and the one thing that Jeff wrote about in his article is that the Patriots are still somewhere around $35-40 million in cap space because of the way that they have structured all these contracts so far. So they still have plenty of cap space, and Deshaun Watson is not necessarily he's not going to be somebody that's going to be super expensive this year because his extension doesn't kick in fully until next year. So his cap hit right now is very, very reasonable. And with all that said, this trade structure that I have heard that's been thrown out there is 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and 2 players coming back from New England. Some of those players that have been floated are Stephon Gilmore, Isaiah Wynn. I don't think we need to start looking at this Deshaun Watson thing as not a complete zero possibility chance of this happening. I don't know how you can possibly dislike it. I mean, it's impossible to dislike it. So I'm not sure what else we can say about it besides how great that would be if you're a Patriots fan. If he's
I don't know, because it feels like Houston's maybe going through a rebuild, why they'd want Stephon Gilmore. But right. Maybe you trade Stephon Gilmore for a first-round pick, and then that pick, we've talked about Gilmore in 15 to move up to 10, and then maybe that is part of it. You move Houston further up the draft. But, yeah, I don't think there's an overpay possible for Deshaun Watson. I've talked about, I don't believe any player in any sport is untouchable because everybody has their price. 4 first-round picks in Isaiah Wynn, sure. 5 first-round picks in Isaiah Wynn, sure. I mean, I think with this team Bill Belichick has built, and most of these are 4-year contracts, right? If you add Deshaun Watson to this group here, and you assume everybody stays healthy, of course, let's say you give up 4 first-round picks. Are any of those picks going to be above 28th overall? 25th at most? I mean, you're going to be in the AFC Championship at least 2 of those 4 years, probably closer to 3. Yeah, I think that, if it only takes two first, 2 seconds, and 2 players, even better. That's I think that's probably a steal. We'll see who the players are, but I don't think there's an overpay here. I really don't think there is for the Patriots. And no. I think it was Albert Breer said that he doesn't know if Houston, even if they had the best offer, and even if Watson was okay with it, and that's the big issue here is, would Watson okay the trade? Because he has to okay it. And right now it sounds like he wants Denver or San Francisco, and that's it. But, if that all went through, I saw Albert Breer say Houston probably wouldn't want to trade him. He's speculating here. This isn't a report. Speculating that Houston wouldn't want to trade Watson to the Patriots because the fans would hate it because of the history between the two organizations. To which I say, since when do the Houston decision makers care about making those fans happy? Yeah. That boat sailed 2-3 years ago. That with Jack Easterby at the helm, if it comes down to Houston not wanting to piss off their fans, I'm not sweating it. I think it's a done deal if that's all it comes down to. So, there's other obstacles there, obviously, but you're right. I think we need to start, maybe it's not realistic yet, but I think it's fair to put it on the radar. We're out of the Pepe Sylvia territory here with this.
Right. And I also think that a big reason why Bill Belichick went on this spending spree on offense was in order to make the Patriots more appealing to a guy like Deshaun Watson, right? Because when the list originally came out for Deshaun, for Russell Wilson, for Matthew Stafford, even, the Patriots were not high on that list, or were not on that list at all in some cases. And it was because of the weapons. It was because of the lack of weapons. Well, now you can come here and you can throw to two good tight ends. You can throw to Aguilar. You can throw to Jacoby Myers. Now you have an offense.
And they could still add another wide receiver too if he wants. Probably they could probably still go out and add like Juju Smith-Schuster.
Right, they probably couldn't if they traded for Russell Wilson, but Deshaun Watson, who we're talking about now,
with Watson specifically, I mean,
absolutely could still go out there and add another wide receiver. And I think we should mention the wide receiver market right now is dark. It is a dark place, right? There's not a lot of guys getting paid. There's a lot of guys unsigned. Curtis Samuel hasn't been signed. Kenny Golladay, I mentioned off the top, hasn't been signed. Juju hasn't been signed. Will Fuller hasn't been signed. I can go right on down the list of all the big name wideouts that are still on the market, because there's just not a lot of teams knocking on the door right now for those guys because of how much they're demanding in contracts and how little cap space there is around the league. There's just not enough money to go around to some of these players. So I think that that's a fascinating aspect of it, is that the Patriots went out and made their team quarterback friendly. Right? They made their team an appealing destination for quarterbacks by all the moves that they have made so far. And if you're Deshaun Watson, all of a sudden you say, hey, well, they're building something in New England, right? This isn't Devin Asiasi and Jacoby Myers and Demir Bird and N'Keal Harry anymore.